Along the shores of the Sword Coast sat the metropolis, Baldur's Gate, luring in many an adventurer. Two such adventurers, a human and a dwarf, blood brothers who were trying to make a name for themselves on the continent of Faerun. They were, of course, jumpers. Jumping in tandem with each other, generating the force to destroy an army. They arrive in Baldur's Gate, eager to show off their talents. The human goes to find them a room for the night, as the dwarf is busy taking a shit. Unbeknownst to them, their lives would change forever, and not for the good.
La 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 la, I love jumping.
This is gonna be really good. Duh, I'm gonna knock him out.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I hope you didn't kill him. Is it time to draw a face on his penis now?
I will be doing the drawing, as I have the marker. Duh, why don't we ever get to draw the faces?
Oh shit, it's the wiener police, get out of here!
Hey buddy, you and your wiener might want to get into that tavern quickly. The brothers enter the tavern, searching for more info on the wiener artists. I actually saw the whole thing through the window, and I'm pretty sure they drew a face on your dick.
Is it true? Did they draw a face on your dick?
No, I think they hate jumping.
How would you know that?
I can feel it. It might have just been the face they drew on your dick. But the brothers would not be swayed. They knew the truth. There were haters in Baldur's Gate. And they will stop at nothing to get to the bottom of all of this hate. First, they jumped in the sewers. Then, they jumped on people who had been kidnapped. This guy's one of those haters!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he hates jumping.
I never said anything bad about jumping in my whole life! Then, they jumped on the undead. I'm pretty sure all of the skeletons down here are haters because of the orb of hate. Point me towards that orb of hate!
You better tell him he's going insane.
After this, they jumped over falling platforms and fireballs.
Oh, god damn it, just got hit in the nuts with a fireball.
Okay, on 3 we jump. 1, 2, 3.
Ha!
They then began to flaunt their jumping skills to a tentacle monster. Well, hello there, gentlemen. How are you today? What did you say about jumping, you son of a bitch? I don't quite understand. I didn't say anything about jumping. I asked you how your day was.
I don't know, those undertones pretty much said jump hater.
Prepare yourself to be jumped upon. Wait, but I can't even jump myself. They jumped through the snow. They jumped through the caves. Then they jumped on some poor, unsuspecting dwarves.
Look, I don't know anything about jumping, but there's a dragon who's definitely a hater, who's far away from us.
Tell me where he is!
What a world it's come to, you know, when dragons even hate jumping.
After a long jumping session through the mountains, they come upon the hater.
Those dwarves told you I hate jumping? I really don't care one way or the other. I'm a dragon.
Did you hear that? This dragon doesn't care about jumping. It doesn't matter to him. Our skills that could save the world?
Yeah, you pretty much just condemned jumping to us, so just be prepared to die.
What? No, jumping's fine. Ah!
They continued jumping into the swamps.
Oh god damn it, I have so much fucking mud in my boots.
Eventually, they jumped upon an onyx tower, one they believed to have the lead hater. Let's demolish this tower!
Yeah, okay, let's see who's inside here. Let's jump on their asses.
Many beasts were jumped upon, large golems made from onyx and gold, until eventually they reached the top of the tower, where a woman in onyx armor stood before them. Hello, gentlemen. How are you today? What can I help you with here in the Onyx Tower? You are the lead hater. Excuse me. What?
You'll have to forgive my brother here. He's gone completely insane. We know that you are the leader of all the hate towards all the jumping in the land, so we're just gonna jump your ass to death.
I'm fine with jumping. Why is that even being brought up? As the woman lay dying, they jump through a portal, which leads them to another land, in which they are already aware there are haters among them.
Oh shit, would you look at that? Look at all the haters. Oh no!
Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is an ARPG, very similar to games like Diablo, Torchlight, Last Epoch, Path of Exile, and a whole host of other games. This is, however, a much more casual game, which is a great entry point for console players who have never played an ARPG, especially since most of them are already on the PC. This one uses Dungeons & Dragons as the basis for its story and lore, and provides us with a really solid all-around action RPG experience, giving us random loot drops, a story to progress through, many different areas. The biggest thing about it probably is the hack and slash gameplay, and leveling up your characters and spending skill points. All of these things, however, are given to you in a very basic form though, so you won't be having anything as complex as Path of Exile or Diablo, or as rich as Last Epoch. Gameplay, for example, is very linear. You have a very specific path to follow, with very few offshoots and side areas to gain experience and to find new items. And you will almost always be the very same level at any point in the game, because you'll be fighting the same monsters, the same bosses, and going through the same areas. This means follow-up playthroughs will not be as different as you want them to be. Yes, the game can be made harder by changing the difficulty, but pretty much everything stays the same. And this actually holds true for the loot as well, which is semi-randomized. Loot will always have the same value that it had the first time you see it. The randomized part is what kind of loot drops for you, but not only that, if your loot has a prefix or a modifier. A prefix is something like keen or icy. Those things will affect your weapon with skills, keen being critical hit and icy being ice attacks. The +5 modifier at the end can go from +1 to +5, and this will affect the damage, the armor, or the effect of a ring or amulet. If you get a +1 or 2, it will add a little bit of damage, a little bit of armor, and have a higher effect. The problem with this then is that you can mostly buy the strongest weapons in the game and have them for most of the game. And if you find a weapon or piece of armor with a high plus modifier on the end of it, then that will absolutely make it much easier as you go through. I don't find it as helpful as something like Diablo with how many random stats it has, the uniqueness of some of the harder to get items like the unique items, the legendary items, the set pieces, and especially Path of Exile, who has tons of different stats. You just don't get that variation, so you'll never have that much of a different playthrough. This also means that the characters, which there are 3 of, and a 4th hidden character, have to have some skills to make it interesting, right? Well, they do. The problem here is also that they have very few skills in total. You aren't meant to get to a very high level, and you aren't meant to have a million different skills to use. Many of them are modifiers to your character's base abilities. Things like critical hit, attack speed, mana regeneration, health regeneration, defense, dodge, all of those things, with every character having about 5 to 7 abilities that they can learn. Now, yes, these abilities are made to be broad, that way some of them work different enough to call them different. The problem is that there still is a very clear winner in each of the characters' skill lists. Most of them are high damage, multi-shot, critical strikes. That's it. That's all you really need to go for, and there really isn't much to go for anyway. Skills like health regeneration and mana regeneration are almost useless since we have potions. They're cheap, and if you get skills that make you do more damage, then you're going to kill monsters quicker, meaning you won't get hit as many times. So the skill list is pretty small, making the game even less of an interesting second, third, or fourth playthrough. Instead, I find that playing the game 2-player is a much more interesting experience and makes it much more fun to play, which is why I played through it here. I had my sister come over thinking, oh, this will be really fun to do, and absolutely it is, because you're not by yourself, and you already know that the game is going to be very linear. I've beaten this game maybe 5 or or 6 times. So this is definitely not my first time through. So it was all very similar. I'm also glad that they had some difficulty levels, because obviously if you want a challenge, you play on the harder modes. When you beat the game for the first time, you actually unlock something called the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet, when completed, will unlock 2 things: a hidden character, Drizzt Do'Urden from the Forgotten Realms book series, and Extreme Mode, which is supposed to be an extreme challenge. And those are kind of helpful because those are things to at least work towards and then try once you've unlocked them. So yes, the game is linear and contained right within that story, which ARPGs usually are not. They usually have some kind of endgame activities you can do, even if it's just searching for new weapons you've never seen before. But there are a couple incentives to play through it at either a harder difficulty, with a friend, or with a new character. Overall, I still really enjoy the game, and I always wish that I could do more with it, but I remember that there are other ARPGs that satisfy those needs. So if you are someone who has a PS2 and wants to try an ARPG, who already knows ARPGs and wants to look back at some casual ones, or just someone who's curious about new PS2 games, here's one for you. I recommend this game. I think it's a fun experience. You can even get a new remastered type version on Steam and some consoles that you can play online, I believe, with your friends, which makes it easier, and it's also high definition, so it probably looks better. So it's an easier way to get into it and enjoy an old school ARPG on the consoles. Recommended for sure.
Baldur's Gate is a game that holds a lot of nostalgia for me, but after playing it again after so many years, I think it still holds up pretty well. There's sort of a lack of side quests, which may or may not be good depending on if you enjoy side quests or not. Overall, I think it's the kind of game that when you come back to it, or if you haven't played it at all, it's still a really enjoyable experience, especially if you play it with more than just yourself and you have multiplayer. I enjoyed being able to come back to it. I think that it's got a pretty decent story, and you can move as fast or as slow through the game as you want. Overall, Baldur's Gate is still good. Even the graphics. That water still looks pretty darn good.
Alright, it's the guessing game. Alright, what is Stable Diffusion trying to depict in this messed up picture? Although I think this one is going to be a little bit easier. And I'm excited for this one because I have a real good idea for the story already. I haven't even beaten the game, but the beginning part of the story, I got a good one. It's perfect, man. I don't know why it is, but it works. So I'm super excited to do this game and finish the video because I think it's going to be good. But if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You know, if you haven't liked and subscribed, if you want to, you please, be really appreciative. And man, 32 games in, people, 32 games in. I cannot believe it. It's going. It won't stop. It won't stop. Choo choo, chugga chugga. Train won't stop. All right, everyone, have a good one. See you for the next video. Later.